blasting, billowing, bursting forth with the power of 10 billion butterfly sneezes.
This is Wine, Money, and Song. And if you want an insider's view of the wine industry, and if you're interested in learning about wines in different wine areas, please subscribe. So this episode is a continuation of talking about the 2022 Red Bordeaux vintage. 2 weeks ago I went to New York and I went to the Union of Grand Cru tasting in New York, which was really, I think they sold too many tickets. It was so hard to move around, I don't want to keep bitching about it. And it cut down on the amount of wines I could try, but it was still, advantageous for me going, but I just wish I could have done it more efficiently, where I could have tasted more wines and talked to more of the producers. There was just too many people. So while I was there for the tasting, I ran into two of my subscribers, and I'm walking around, and all of a sudden says, "Tom, keep it up." And I go, "What?" I didn't see where the voice came, and then someone came up to me, "Hi," and they had messaged me that they were going to be there. So they said, "We're two of your subscribers. We really enjoy your channel," and it was nice getting that feedback. And I spent maybe 10 or 15 minutes with them, asking them what they want to see on the channel and what they enjoy or don't enjoy about the channel. And the one thing they said to me, they loved my stories about the wine business and all the things that I've been through throughout the years, and they want more of it. So that was very nice, and they really care about it, and they're really looking forward to all of the next episodes. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go over the vintage and why this vintage is very different than any other vintage, and then I'm going to go through the appellations and name the top wines. And in another episode, I'm going to go through the pricing and what I think are the best values. So if you have a chance, I made 3 or 4 episodes a year ago about the 2022 futures and what I thought. If you want, you should go over that. It'll give fundamental information for you that'll help you make your buying decisions. So the vintage 2022 was one of the hottest vintages on record. I'm trying to think. We can go back to 1928, 1947, and 1982, and 2003. A lot of people draw a parallel with the 2003s with the 2022s, and I have never been a fan or an advocate of the 2003s, although Parker liked them, and Parker likes very, very extracted, tannic, and over-the-top wines. And there were some great wines made in 2003, like Lafite, like Label Barton, and it's a big style, but a lot of the other wines lack charm, and they lack balance. They were just so over the top. So what happened in 2022 that is different than 2003? Well, it was very hot, very dry. And the 2022s, it was very hot up front, while the 2003s were hot throughout. And the August temperatures calmed down a little bit in 2022s versus the 2003s. And in June, it was very, very dry, no rain, but they got 2 downpours in June, which helped replenish the vines, that they didn't go into water stress, which they did in 2003. And there was more rainfall in August, which saved the vintage. And as I said, it was super hot. It was super hot. So and also the nighttime temperatures in 2022 were lower than they were in 2003. The daytime temperatures were similar, but the nighttime temperatures were cooler in 2022. And what does that mean? Well, that means that the acid levels were able to stay, and they didn't lose acidity when it's hot at night. So that helped a lot. How did they make the wines in 2022, which were different methods than they did in 2003? Well, let me just quote you. A representative from Lafite said, if we made these wines 20 years ago, they wouldn't have been as successful. It wouldn't have been a good vintage. And someone from Mouton Rothschild said, this vintage, classism is out the window. It's its own vintage, and it's not comparable to other great vintages in Bordeaux, but there's going to be some great wines made there. Now, how did that happen? Well, vineyard management, they left a lot of the vegetation on the vines to shield the grapes so they didn't sunburn. That's one. Understand something. Some of the areas had thunderstorms, hailstorms, which knocked down the yields, and there was a fire in the forest in Bordeaux near Graves. So it was one thing. It was heat. It was mildew. It was hail. It was. But the one thing about the 2022 is the yields are very low and the berries are very small, especially the Cabernet. And the Cabernet Sauvignon grapes, when they're small like that, the skins are thicker and you get much more color and much more tannins in them. So you have to keep that in mind. Now, what the producers did, which were different, was they did not use as much small oak barrels to age the wine. They didn't do 100% generally. Some of them did 25%, some did 50% in new barrels, and then they used the rest of the wine in a more neutral oak, larger oak, so there was less influence of the wood, and they didn't lose the moisture, and they didn't gain alcohol. Now, some people use concrete. Some people use glass aging vessels to age the wine, and it's very neutral. So that helped keep the wines fresh, and that helped keep the wines from gaining alcohol, because if you put them in small barrels, the water evaporates out of the small barrels very quickly. But if you put it in more neutral vessels for aging, you don't lose as much water and thus less alcohol. Now, there were people who used whole berry clusters for fermentation. That helped the acidity, that helped keep the alcohol down. They were very, very careful about pump overs. They weren't macerating the wine as much, not heavily extracted, to keep purity in the wine. Those are the things that they did very, very differently than they did in 2003. Now, what does this mean to the vintage? Well, there's never been a vintage made this way on that large scale of winemaking that they changed their techniques. So how do we know how these wines are going to age? We don't know. But it seems the wines are balanced, but very high in alcohol. Now, I didn't find the high alcohols to be hot. I didn't find them to burn at all. We're going to have to roll along and monitor these wines because they are alcoholic, but without appearing to be overly alcoholic. And each vineyard extracted very gently. But you will find some wines that are somewhat out of balance and blocky, that they have certain aspects, elements of the wine that are not together. And will they come together over time? Only time will tell. So the areas that were favored were the heavier soil areas like Saint-Eustache, Pauillac, Saint-Julien. They were favored on the left bank. Grave and Margaux were somewhat variable, and you don't have as many successes in the southern Medoc as you do in the northern Medoc because of the high clay in the northern Medoc, and also the soils that retain water, and clay retains water when it's stressed like that, water stressed. So the areas to look for in the northern Medoc, as I said, are those three areas: Saint-Eustache, Pauillac, and Saint-Julien. And there are some excellent Margaux and some excellent Grave, but far and fewer in between. While the right bank, Pomerol and Saint-Emilion, are much more varied also. And there's always, especially in Saint-Emilion, there's a lot of variance in quality, and we're going to go estate by estate with that. And Pomerol, usually the better estates are making better wines, and we will go through that in the next episode, and I will recommend the best wines